It's Ask Muneeza, 4 p.m. on Thursdays. I'm the intuitive medicine woman here to do your live health Q&A to help answer your questions and help you move forward with your health. So if you guys like this Q&A and you enjoy it, let me know if any of the suggestions that we've ever given you have been helpful, have helped you move the needle. You know that we do a much deeper Q&A when we go into membership. And if you'd like to join us in membership, do that, because that way you'll get a much more in-depth answer, much more answer with much more detail that we can get into. Welcome everybody who's joining us right now. It's super fun to connect with all of you and to hear from you. And let's dive into Q&A, because that's why we're here. So let me know when you're joining in, as some of you have jumped on a little while ago or are jumping on, and people are coming on. If this Q&A has been helpful for you, definitely please let us know. Tag us in, tag us in something that you used, one of our suggestions, and something helped you. So I am really hoping that you find some benefit in it, because that's the whole reason for us to do this, is that it's helping you all to heal. Be Happy Healing for Me says, this has definitely moved the needle. I'm in your membership as well. Jennifer says, yes, these rapid fire Q&As have been so helpful. And you told me to push more on dirty blood syndrome, and it's helping my Raynaud's. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yay. So I'm so thrilled that we get to do this and help all of you. It's just so much fun to do. And Roni, you're loving the YouTube format. I love the YouTube format as well. It's really fun. I love how the captions come on the screen, and it's just easier to follow, I think. And Danae says there's always benefits. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm super stoked that you are all enjoying this. Nobody you know, how are you? I'm good. How are you doing, my love? How are you doing? So P3 for CHX says, I love the Q&A. I'm glad. Okay, so lots of people coming on here with lots and lots of questions. And so let's get into it. So remember, I always answer the questions first that are on the posted thread that people send out, because we want you to pre-post your question on our stories. So catch us the day before. So let's do rapid fire. Let's get started. Pernille Hogard says, why do I taste iron during detox? It could be that you are letting go of some toxic forms of iron. So that's probably why you taste it, from some either pills that you had or some other chemical that you were exposed to. So it's very possible, or even from like a cast iron cooking pan, you could be letting go of something from there. So it's very possible. Many of us who detox actually feel, sometimes you can taste the chemicals, smell the chemicals in your poop, your pee, and your sweat even, right? So Drin Diaz says, last week helped a lot with all of the bladder issues. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm glad it helped. So, okay, so how to overcome chronic fatigue syndrome. So this is something I dealt with. This is by Raluca Alestia. And chronic fatigue, you have to protect the adrenals. It's also viral. You have EBV sitting in the liver that's rapidly dumping out poison into your system. So that makes you more fatigued. It's a combination of adrenal fatigue and viral fatigue, because it is neurological, so it has some elements of neurological fatigue. You have to take the Core 7. Keep bringing in the Core 7, B12, zinc, micro C, lysine, cat's claw, lemon balm, licorice root. And in addition, you can bring in ashwagandha for the adrenals. You have to eat like some people with chronic fatigue, when I was at my worst, I was eating every hour, like every 16 minutes. Some people need to eat every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes or every 45 minutes. So it depends on where you are with your adrenals. So you want to make sure you're doing that. And then there's a lot more to it, but that's where you would start. And if you guys are wondering where to start, like Raluca Alessia, if you're wondering where to start with this, I would start with our Roadmap to Healing Chronic Illness program. It's a free course with 7 videos. I would highly recommend that you jump in on that, download it, and hopefully that will help you. Okay, so next question is from uh, AI Robot. She says, "Okay, I'm doing MM. My newborn is bloated. Is it normal and will it go away?" Many newborns will have like a full tummy, so yeah, they can have gas, and sometimes newborns often have a lot of gastric issues. Colic is a gastric liver issue. Reflux is a liver and gastric issue, and just having gas and bloat can happen to newborns. It sometimes is impacted by the food that mom is eating, so if you eat a cleaner diet, then it'll feel better to you. Crow's feet are sort of the lines that you see around the eyes. That's just part of the breaking down of collagen in the skin because of more toxins and poisons, not because you age, right? So 369 cleanses lots of aloe shock therapy, supporting the skin. Silica will help to reverse that. Elevated biotics gardening on repeat. Advanced 369 started supplement protocols and began gaining weight. Am I pushing the liver? I am going to say so. I don't know how much 369s you've been doing. I have been doing 369s too. I take all my supplements, and you know the weight gain is related to the liver entirely, but the supplements are not going to push the liver. That's not what they do. Those supplements help to, they're actually very easy on the liver. The liver can process these supplements because they're so pure. They support the liver. So weight gain is happening for another reason. If it's immediate weight gain, ask yourself in the membership today, which is why I think everybody should join membership, even if it's for a month. Come and check it out. But most people end up staying longer because they get so much support there. But in membership, we spent so much time today talking about lymphatic water weight, how it comes there, how it processes, what to do about it in depth. So if you want this month's call, jump into this month's membership and you can get today's call and listen to it and get the answer. I spent like almost 30 minutes talking about just that. So I don't think you're pushing the liver, but I would say when water weight starts to go up, your liver is more overburdened. Is there something that happened? Were you adrenalized? Were you exposed to a toxin? Did something flare your viral load? What's going on? That's the question to ask if you're putting on some weight. I am Sweet P112 says bone loss, menopause can make it worse or viral. Bone density test gives radiation. So, yes, bone density tests do use radiation. Sometimes they're necessary. It's okay. Bone loss, menopause can make it worse. So, is your question saying, does menopause make bone loss worse? It doesn't actually, it's not connected directly to menopause. What it's connected to is the overacidity of the body over many, 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 many years. So that's what makes bone loss worse. And bone loss is from too much acidity in the body, where the minerals that leach out of the bone and into the body to neutralize that acidity. Pitaya says, I only find frozen pasteurized pitaya in Norway. If that's the case, still use it. Lynn Julie Home, I think you can still get benefit from that. That's great. The real Eva Grant said, the cause of sunken eyes and sunken and hollow cheeks. I believe that if you've got sunken eyes, you have some sort of viral load going on. Anthony's never talked about it. This is my intuition. I've worked with people with sunken eyes, so whenever I've seen them, there's a lot of viral load going on. So it's just, it's all these different viruses, different poisons and toxins that cause each of these symptoms. M. Summer Gioska says severe period pain continues, although on MM for more than 2 years. What could be the reason? Severe period pain continues. I'm just wondering, how much are you taking in terms of the supplements that you want to be on, like curcumin and magnesium and nettle leaf and some of the California poppies? Like, how much are you doing around the time of your period? If it's still intense, all that tells you is that the inflammation that exists in the uterine area, in the uterine tissues, is actually not clearing up quickly enough. So when you have a period and the blood fills up, the fluid fills up around the uterine tissue, it presses against the tissue and causes pain, which is why you have pain. So the inflammation that's there originally is because of viral loads. So how much are you doing to push back on that? Elisa says, why should Vitex Berry be paused during menstruation? because it can actually cause you, if you take too high a dose of it, it can cause more menstruation, like it can cause a bleed. So I would say just it's important to be like very careful with that one. Nat Casterevan says, contraception methods for fertile days before we learn our fertility cycles signs well enough. A barrier like using a condom. Sunny fruit sugar, is it dangerous for the mom or baby to give birth after the age of 37? No, I don't think that's at all a point of danger. God didn't make our bodies to be unable to handle birth or give birth or handle pregnancy just because we crossed a certain age, right? That's not why we're sick. Or I mean, that just, it doesn't make any sense. If you're fertile all the way until your 50s, you really should be able to give birth in your 50s. You know why women start to be told that they're geriatric after 35 or there's a problem, is because as you age, you have more poisons in your body and it just becomes harder. Your adrenals are weaker, and that's why birth is harder. It's got nothing to do with age. What is the cause of hiccups? I believe it's a nerve issue, a nerve spasm. So taking magnesium can be super helpful. What if you, is menopause reversible? If you are in true menopause and you're going into losing your fertility around the age of 50 or so, then no, that's not reversible. But if you lose your period earlier in life and it's not the right time, you're not truly in menopause, then yes, that is reversible. Um, Shanice C says, women's health during Ramadan, how to optimize adrenal health. Well, you want to make sure that you're having celery juice when you open your fast tonight, when you do it. So do celery juice, lemon water, heavy metal detox, lots of fruit, eat every 90 minutes or less if you can. Don't eat big meals. I recommend in Ramadan you don't eat big, massive meals. You eat small meals all throughout the evening until you go to bed. And then when you wake up in the morning, you eat more. But like you can take licorice, you can take ashwagandha while you're fasting to help with your adrenals, but not eating for from dusk until from dawn till dusk is going to trigger adrenals. There's literally nothing you can do about that if you're going to choose to fast. You just have to do the best you can to protect your adrenals while you're not fasting. Also, like not having high fat is going to help your adrenals as well. So staying away from fat, and I don't just mean low fat. I mean like stay away from fat during Ramadan if you don't have blood sugar issues. But if you have blood sugar issues, I would recommend not fasting anyway. Gosh, I can go in so many directions with this topic because it's really like a big, big topic. So, can I share how I use my Aura Ring for my health? Yes. So, my Aura Ring measures body temperature, blood oxygenation levels, how much sleep I'm getting, whether it's deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep. It measures um, heart rate variability. It measures heart rate. It measures so many factors. So I'm a huge proponent because, like for example, I've tested it when I've eaten like a little bit of fat, and I notice my body temperature always goes up, even if it's by a point 0.5 of a degree or a point 0.1 of a degree. It goes up every single time I eat fat, which correlates with the fact that when you eat fat, the liver struggles more. So the liver body temperature goes up, not enough to give you a sweat, but it still goes up enough, right? So another factor is you can measure how much sleep, the heart rate variability directly can correlate to the amount of stress that you're feeling in your life. And so the heart rate variability will start to change probably before you become aware and notice that you're actually feeling really stressed. So if you notice your heart rate variability getting worse, you can actually take steps and supplements and things that you can do to help yourself before you get really bad and end up in a viral flare. So I find it actually very helpful. So this is just my own kind of coming up with my own way of using the Aura Ring information to correlate with what I know from medical medium information about health and wellness and what I know about the human body. It makes total sense when you understand what the readings really mean. And I find that it's really helpful for me to track what I'm doing, how I'm sleeping, how I'm resting. It really helps you track your sleep and your adrenals in a big way. That is something otherwise it's very hard to measure. So I feel that that insight gives me good knowledge and good information. Like, for example, if I have a bad night, I could sleep 6 hours one night, 6 hours the next night. The first night, say I have like 2 hours of deep sleep and I wake up and I'm kind of tired. But the next night, I have 6 hours of sleep, but I have 4 hours of deep sleep. That starts to make me feel like I'm a new person when I wake up in the morning, right? And some people get like 30 minutes of deep sleep a night. If that's your case, you can get that information from the ring and you can adjust your supplements, you can adjust your schedules, you can start to bring in more sleep support to help you get that deeper sleep. And so it's protective of the adrenals as you do that. So I just, I find it really interesting and really helpful. So um yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. We've got more questions. Remember, I deal with the questions that were posted on the sticker first. What is olive leaf good for? Olive leaf is great for the heart, for circulation, for blood pressure, for it's antiviral. It helps with a range of herpetic viruses like all of them. It helps with HHV6, EBV. It helps with shingles, like, all the herpetic viruses it helps with. So that's a really powerful one to bring in. It also helps against bacteria. It helps against E. coli, salmonella, staph infections. It helps against pneumonia. It can help wipe out colds and flus. It has amazing power to lower blood pressure. So if you haven't done that, it's really great for diabetes. People with diabetes, it's also helpful. So yeah, it's a really powerful one and it helps the digestive tract. I think it's an overall really great one. So good question. All right, next question is from, since you don't use public toilets, does that mean you'll never fly again? Um, so Alicia, I haven't used public toilets in a long time. Will I ever not fly again? I don't think that's true. I think I probably will fly again. Um, I don't know when, but I would manage my toileting habits very differently, and I would minimize needing to go to the bathroom as much as possible. So I'm sure I'll figure it out, but it's not a hard no for me. Before had an ablation for heavy cycles, would this have compounded vaginal dryness? Vaginal dryness, Michelle Roslow, uh, it comes from the liver. So bear that in mind, right? Veronica says, do I use a dehydrator? Is dehydrated food okay to eat like wraps and kale chips? It's okay to eat a little bit. I wouldn't overdo it. Don't oversalt it. It's got no water in it. So there's no hydration coming from that food. So it's going to dehydrate you. So if you want to make sure that you've got plenty of hydration around that, and as a treat or as something like that, it's fine to use. Tanya Kazin, I'm following I'm in protocol to heal eczema. Is there any shock therapy or anything that can speed up recovery? Yes, aloe shock therapy can be super helpful for this. Riley Joe says, I wear pads, but is there anything safe that I can swim on my cycle? Yeah, a menstrual cup I think would be the safest if you want to swim on your cycle, but make sure that you handle it very, very hygienically. Why does eczema show up on arms for 1 year, then legs the next year? It just the dermatoxins move through different parts of your lymphatic system, so that's why it changes. Lenita says, what is a gout flare also? Why does a gout flare up also raise blood pressure? What's the correlation? I don't know what your specific correlation is, Lenita. It could be just specific for you, but it's not specific across the board. And I'd have to know more about your case to answer that question. So this is a great question. Like, I would dive in deeper into memberships if you want to join. Ask me in membership. That is a great place to come in and do a deeper Q&A. Christy says, do you think doing toxic fragrance brain shot for a month or so will help with multiple chemical sensitivities? I believe that anything that will lower the viral load or toxic load of your liver will help. So yes, I think that it may help you. What feels like a UTI is persisted for 3 weeks, doing all the things. So if it feels like a UTI and it's persisted for 3 weeks, can you do shock therapies? Can you bring in golden seal shock, propolis shock, time T shock, lemon balm shock, like zinc shock, C shock? Bring them all in if you can. Jenny Health Healing, are there any good products and supplements that are not good when pregnant? Yeah, I mean, literally the list of pregnancy supplements is really small. If you go to my Amazon store, if you click on pregnancy support, all the supplements you can take safely for pregnancy are there, that he actually talks about in his live that he did with Kimberly Vanderbeek. My eyes have gotten smaller in size as I'm growing older. I'm losing my best feature. Why? Oof. No idea, but it could be poisons and toxins that collect. The shape of the face changes as we get older, depending on poisons and toxins. So, preventing saggy skin on the eyelids as you age. Make sure that you're cleaning up your liver. It's liver, 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 liver. Get more aloe into your system, papaya into your system, silica into your system, cucumber juice. All those things make a big difference. You have vaginal irritation. Help! Stabler's butt says. So, vaginal irritation, it could be likely strep, but I don't know if it's viral because you haven't shared any more detail about that. So, is it itchy? What else is going on? Sally Lucas says, what are the most important things to do and supplements to take to reverse loss of eyebrows and lashes? Um, so most important things to do and supplements to take for hair loss, and like that's like a hair loss alopecia type situation. So core 7, B12, zinc, micro, sea lysine, cat's claw, lemon balm, licorice root, those are the places to start, and go from there. uh, Ashwagandha is really important, and adrenal snacks, very important. Chandra Kavanagh, is liquid smoke okay to use in a recipe once in a while? It depends on what are the ingredients of the liquid smoke, but if you found it clean enough and you just wanted to do it once in a while, then if you don't have many symptoms, you're not that sensitive, then I would say, yeah, sure. Is using EMF shield to paint a good idea? It could have VOCs in it or smells in it, so it's like I wouldn't do it. Can you take licorice root while breastfeeding? Yes, very little. A mom, my mom likes to leave me alone, just wants to sit in bed with the phone. Overwhelm, low energy. Oh, what's I didn't understand the question, Levtov. What's the cause when a person feels like they don't want to do anything? It could be it could be depression, it could be depersonalization, it could be a spectrum of either of those things or both. Best food and supplements to have for brain fog and focus issues when studying each day. Celery force, very, very important for studying and focus. Ginkgo as well. And yeah, go to cola as well. What does it mean when wheezing and white phlegm only at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning? If you're wheezing is mucus in the trachea. And if you have white phlegm, then it's just pulling up all that mucus. So it could be a strep related thing. Edit previous MCS. How long do you think I should do toxic fragrance brain shots for MCS? 30 days? Yeah, I mean, yes, you could do it for 30 days for sure. How not to be so tired? Eat every 90 minutes. Glucose and mineral salts like celery, dates, and apples, or mangoes and bananas, or with lettuce, or mango and cilantro, or in a smoothie. So yeah, so all of these things are really important. They matter. um, Monica says, doing time shock therapy but still have brain fog, does the time disturb the EVV? Not really. Not really. It doesn't disturb the EVV at all, knocks it out. If you still have brain fog, time time shock isn't the only thing that will clear brain fog. You have to do antivirals as well that can help to clear brain fog. And important that you do that. How to remove blackheads on your nose and prevent them from coming back? That's a strep issue from the lymphatic system. So I would use strep protocols, Lomatium, OSHA. I would golden seal, thyme, lemon balm, oregano. How to reverse dark circles under the eyes? Do the dirty blood syndrome protocols from the liver book and work on Raynaud's protocols. Dad had extremely unbearable headache one time. First, he experienced it. Why? It could be just a viral inflammation and a viral flare that he's having in that moment. And so the core 7 would be really good for dad. Best supplements for bipolar, doing HMDS every day already. I would do celery force. I would do the brain shots. I would do anger shifter shot, mood shifter shot. I would do the ego shifter shot because, bipolar means that you can have anger and manic episodes, and those brain shots are amazing for that. How can you lessen the inevitable hair loss after childbirth? You can do the support with licorice and ashwagandha, eating adrenal snacks, making sure you've got plenty of glucose and mineral salts in your body, not straining yourself, but the hair loss is inevitable. It's gonna happen. So Caroline says, "Oh, we answered this question today in membership as well on hot flashes, and we went through it in big depth. So like shaga and is really helpful, and celery juice twice a day is really helpful to clear that out." What does the swishing sound in our head and in the ears mean? In the ears, it could mean tinnitus. Vestibulocochlear nerve is inflamed by EBV. In the head, it could be similar. It could be that, or it could be like some other nerve disturbance that you're feeling. So what is low iron in blood or having loss of blood? So low iron in the blood means that you have EBV that's eating your iron in the blood. So that's part of it. So how many days per month does a woman ovulate? Often 3 to 4 is when ovulation is happening over that period of time. How many days does immune lowered for ovulation? It could be 2 to 3 days. So you have arthritis in the knee, it's slightly swollen, and elbow is painful, and how to avoid an operation. Mummies and Sandy B, I would say you need to consult with someone. This is not an IG question. It's such a big decision for you. And if you really want to get into it, then join membership or consult with someone. You know, membership, we can get into it with you. You can provide more detail, and we can actually like help you understand what's going on for you and help you with more information so that you can actually have more support, right, for your health. Okay, so coming on to our questions that are in the feed real quick. So somebody says, what about cramp bark? You're probably asking about period pain. You can use it, but it's not recommended. It's not a recommended supplement by medical medium for that. So that's not what I recommend. I've used it. It is helpful for some degree, but I find some of the other ones even more helpful. I asked a while ago what causes molds, and I believe you said petroleum. Is there something that can be done to get rid of them? Petroleum, yeah. Do the anti-plastics tea, do the exposure shot therapies from the brain shot. So the exposure shot therapies include mold exposure, negative energy exposure, EMF exposure, toxic fragrance exposure, toxic heavy metal exposure, radiation exposure, pesticide exposure, airborne chemical exposure. I think I missed a couple, maybe pathogen exposure, pharmaceutical exposure. So I would do a combination of those to help you with it. For those of you who are starting out and needing help with basic questions, sign up for my free course, Roadmap to Healing. It really makes a difference. It's 7 videos, and people have been signing up since the last live and saying that they're really loving the information. So go sign up, and 7 videos for free that help guide you towards your journey to healing. The link is on the page right here. Okay, so what helps hormone imbalance that can create hair on the face and areas it shouldn't be? It's often an estrogen dominance issue, more toxic estrogen in the body. So that is what the root cause is. So raspberry leaf tea really helped to lessen my period pain. Yeah, raspberry leaf tea is also a super helpful herb. So if you had to focus on your liver, what would you take? Again, we go into more depth in these questions in this membership. I even have a whole class on liver. So if you'd like to really get into it, come into membership, or you can buy the liver class from way far ago, before, right? So I would do the 369 cleanses to focus on the liver. I would lower dietary fat. I would start working in adrenal health so that you dump less adrenaline into your liver, so the liver is less burdened by adrenaline. And then I would make sure that you're doing the core 7 to deal with any viral issues. And I would make sure that you are bringing in milk thistle, pitaya, hibiscus tea, shaga, all these foods that help the liver to heal. Okay, so next question is, what if I only get hiccups when I eat plain potatoes, never any other time, like ever? Like the second I put one in my mouth, they go away shortly afterwards, but it's weird. I honestly cannot answer that unless I actually speak to you and do a more of a consult to find out what really is going on. So, what do clean out plastics in the body? The anti-plastics tea, which is mentioned in the Revised and Expanded Medical Medium book. What causes painful intercourse? Any swelling in the vaginal area due to either bacterial infection or a viral infection can cause that to happen. Can you talk how much sexual intimacy we should be having with our partners whilst healing? Um, that's really up to you. It depends on how how strong you are, how healthy you are, and you need to assess that for yourself. So it's nothing that I can help somebody assess because I think that people um, people all have their own threshold of what they can handle. So you basically what I'm saying is you'll know if you can't handle it. You mentioned a few lives ago a company for radiation protection. You mean Organites? Homegrown Healers makes them. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. Homegrown Healers makes them. Um, and who Cat WB 444 makes them, so you can check those out. Can weak adrenals cause a lower milk supply? Yes, it can impact you for sure. Um, What are you referring to? Just chimed in. I'm not sure where you chimed in. Joel to Memory says, Muneeza Ramadan Kareem, could you say something about makeup and hair color, please? Healthy products. Yes, Dolce Memory. I have a whole bunch of like makeup and healthy products, beauty products on my Amazon store. So if you go to my website, muneezaahmed.com, and um, basically um, click on healing tools, beauty, health, and healing tools. I think those can be very helpful. So next question: how come autism can be healed also in adults? Wasn't the middle part of the brain closing around the age of 18? You can make huge changes. There might be some metal left in the middle of the brain, but that's not the only part, and that's not the only place that it happens. So you can heal from every other place too. I'm doing the Core 7 fat free, grain free since second plague. I'm so stiff and in so much pain, severe fatigue. What else can I do? Crashes and body brain. Um, so if you're in pain, I mean, if you're in severe fatigue, I would bring in some support like licorice, like ashwagandha. Um, and if you're in pain, add in curcumin, California poppy, magnesium glycinate. They can all help with pain. Nettle leaf helps with pain as well. Um, you have to find a way to stabilize yourself, Cara Sailor. Like if you're struggling, yeah, this is a better question. Like if you want to go in more depth, like membership is the place to be. Um, so what would you recommend using? Would you recommend using green life pans after ceramic coating has been scratched? Yeah, I just threw one of mine away because all of those got scratched on the inside. So I just threw it away because you could see the aluminium peeping out from behind it. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. What is the cause of yellowing or white silver hair? Silver hair, Anthony has said, is genetic, like if it's pure silver. But if it's white, that's from adrenal loss. Carolina from Costa Rica. Hi, how are you, honey? What is the protocol to treat receded gums and rebuild tissue? How long would it take? Um, so, receding gums, lots and lots of swishing with celery juice all the time, like swish, 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 8, 9 times a day. Um, and rebuild gum tissue. Again, you have to swish with celery juice. Bring in more greens, lots more greens: parsley, celery, kale, cucumbers, a leafy green, spinach, oregano. Sorry, not oregano, arugula. That's also super helpful. Um, Dawn says, loving the asparagus apple juice for bladder issues. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. I'm glad it helped. I'm so glad it helped. Um, Okay, coming on to our Instagram feed. So we've done quite a few questions from the YouTube feed. What helps for vitiligo? 4 years into and not reversed. How much of the heavy metal are you doing? How much heavy metal are you doing? Because vitiligo is aluminium and formaldehyde in the liver, so that's a big part of it. I'm not sure if you're able to tell me what you're doing with that. That's important. Feel like I have to take take a BM. Do you mean bowel movement? When I take a bite of healing food, is this a vagus nerve inflammation? Tell me what you mean by BM. Should we avoid tofu? Janet Diaz. Yeah, tofu is genetically modified soy. Even if you buy organic soy, you still cannot avoid the genetically modified foods because of cross contamination of fields of soy. You cannot do that. What helps joint and muscle tissue inflammation after exercise? Um, if you're flaring after an exercise, then I would watch how much you're exercising and how much you're pushing yourself. So I would do curcumin. I would do a lot of flushing of the acid that comes out of exercise and releasing that out of your body, but also making sure that you're not pushing yourself so much. Um, you can ice the areas that are inflamed. You can bring in more, but curcumin, ice, magnesium, all those things will help. What helps with mold toxicity? Lisa Floyd. I have a whole blog on mold toxicity in my on my website. Have you checked that out? And what I did when I was experiencing mold toxicity. So spirulina is a really big part of it. Aloe is also a really big part of it. Another question from my art shop: how do I get rid of a cyst on my wrist? I'm a poet and I don't know it. Right? There's burning sensation. How also, what can I do for fatigue? So if you have a cyst on your wrist, if I would say drink pomegranate juice every single day for like 16 ounces if you can, 8 to 16 ounces every single day for about 30 days. That cyst should disappear. Also, what you can do for fatigue. I've already answered a fatigue question before, so go back and listen to that. Um, can you take nascent iodine and bladderwrack every day, or it has to be one or the other? I don't know, honey. I don't know how much you're taking of each. So if you're taking like 1 drop of iodine and you want to take some bladderwrack, sure. But at high amounts of both, I would say no, probably not. Okay, so coming into more questions here. Guys, I know you're asking all of these questions and I want to answer all of your questions. However, it's not possible to answer every single one. I do try. I do try. And we're going to be wrapping up in a couple of minutes, so I can take a couple of more questions here. Thoughts on bioidentical hormones? I think that progesterone is great. It often a bioidentical progesterone works fine, but another type of progesterone often doesn't. Other types like estrogen and all the other ones are less helpful. So Yoga Life with Arti says, do you think you would do this as a topic on membership, i.e., how to read an aura ring? I'm not an expert. I can tell you a little bit of what I'm understanding, but it's not an expert. It's just what I use for my own health. Trust in Healing says, Muneeza, I'm asking for an friend. Can you please feel what's good or best to concentrate on when I've just been diagnosed with calcium hydroxyapatite deposition disease? Oh man, I would say you really want to focus this on. You really want to work on cleaning up the liver. Doing liver cleanses is super helpful. Like that's really important to do, and to focus on EBV, because poisonous or toxic calcium deposits and extra calcium comes from EBV often. So I would work on that EBV for sure. Um, is doing electrolysis bad for you? I don't recommend it for me. I would never do it. I've never recommended it to anybody else. I think it can be a bit adrenalizing. Um, so a couple of more questions we can do before we end today. Um, so Connie says, how can I relieve severe and chemical mold and sensitivity? I want to move back to upper Midwest, but the mold and pesticides are not livable there right now. First grandbaby born and want to move back up there. How long will it take? So there's no way for me to tell you how long it's going to take. There's no way to predict that. But bringing in mold exposure shots, doing rounds of that, toxic fragrance exposure shots, really working on your liver, like doing the cleanses, staying off of fats, bringing in the liver support supplements from the liver book, reading the chapter of food and chemical sensitivities over and over and over again, Connie, that's going to help you the most. I read Brain Saver in English and was wondering what does chopped vegetables mean. In chopped means to cut. Yeah, into pieces, not too small before juicing. So last question for today. Topical magnesium oil made from flakes is safe? Yes, made from flakes is perfectly fine to include. You guys, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you. Sign up for our newsletter if you're not already signed up. We send out tomorrow morning. We've got a great newsletter coming out about spring and healing recipes that you can use. So sign up to the newsletter. It's really, really fun and helpful. Every week we come up with new content to include in the newsletter. If you're on the newsletter, you get to know first everything. First, if we ever do a sale. First, if we ever have special, like we did with First Seed Foods. If I have special discounts, you get them first and on the newsletter. So sign up for the newsletter. We don't spam you ever. Love to have you there. And if you need support with your healing, sign up for my course, Roadmap to Healing, because it really can make a huge, huge difference. All right, guys, I got to run, but it was amazing hanging out with you as always. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Let's keep healing. Bye, everybody.